And welcome everybody to Homeschool Connect Expo. This month from yesterday, March 15th through April 15th, we are having our curriculum fair. So it's all online, all for homeschoolers. And we have about 68 different providers. I think it was, 68 different providers of homeschool curriculum. So go out. You can go right into homeschoolconnectexpo.com. There's a link right below the main area. You can get right into. We have speakers. We have the curriculum providers. We have all different kinds of things for you in all different types. So today, I'll be speaking with Breaking the Barrier, and they are a French and Spanish language program. And I love what they do. And Kelly and I have done a live presentation for Breaking the Barrier last year, where we presented, their information and their program, and I absolutely love it. And so we'll be bringing John Connor with Breaking the Barrier here pretty soon, and we'll kind of go through. And so if you have any questions, just comment Facebook, YouTube. It comes right here for us, and we'll do some Q&A later on at the end of it. So anyway, thanks for their coming out, and keep on coming out. Share with your friends and family members about the curriculum fair that we're having, and you'll be able to see all kinds of different things. But let's bring John on, and we'll kind of get learn more about him and Breaking the Barrier. So, hey, John, how are you doing?
I am doing great. It's fantastic to be here. I'm calling in from Groton, Massachusetts, where it's 30 degrees today.
Oh, wow.
And it doesn't seem fair. It's March. It should be time to be outside. But anyway.
We got a dip. I'm down in Atlanta, and it was beautiful last week, but we have this really weird cold spell coming on and causing all kinds of rain and everything. So we're not kind of used to it right now. But yeah, we're live, and just was telling everybody that I love Breaking the Barrier. I love your product. So why don't you introduce yourself a little bit and tell us a little bit more about Breaking the Barrier?
Great, thank you very much. Well, my name is John Connor, and I grew up in Chicago, Illinois. And my dad was a Methodist minister, and my mom a second grade school teacher. And I found myself in sixth grade in a Spanish class at the local junior high. And this lovely woman also happened to be my Sunday school teacher. So there was a bit of a holy alliance there, I think. And I fell in love with Spanish, did it through high school, went to Evanston High School, went to college, kept studying Spanish, did graduate school, and then ended up teaching Spanish at a private boarding school, a little tiny one called Groton School, which is outside of Boston in Massachusetts. I've been here for decades. I've run a dorm, I've coached. But the thing that makes me excited when I wake up in the morning is teaching the Spanish language. And about 20 years ago, I started a company called Breaking the Barrier. And here it is written, Breaking the Barrier. And we, 20 years ago, actually, this was the very first title, our advanced book. And I felt, as much as I loved a lot of the books that were out there, I, like many teachers, felt I could do better. And I think that, in my opinion, one of the best paths to fluency in a language is getting great vocabulary that you need and understanding the structure of the language. When you understand the grammar and the structure, I think that's the fastest path to fluency. And so these print books came first, and we added a title at a time. Then we did it in French. So we have 2 complete series in Spanish and French. We have print books, and then we also have something we're very excited about, digital books, which I'm actually going to show you a little bit later. But I would say that's the background. I've raised a family. I have 4 kids. All of them speak Spanish. they say better than me, but they've learned through breaking the barrier, and all have been able to live abroad. And I also lived abroad. I lived in Spain for a year. I've done a lot of work in South America and Colombia. I've traveled all over the Spanish-speaking country. So anyway, I would say that is my background.
Okay. Yeah. I love the material because it goes beyond just, here's some words and here's kind of how to say it. I love you have the background, some history, some people, some information, the structure, which is really important. I went through, I think 3 years of Spanish, and I never really got the full structure. I got to say some of the things. I was able to do some of the stuff, but it never clicked because I didn't see the full picture. And that was something when I was learning French. I actually went over to Paris, and at that point in time, I realized I really didn't know French, but I learned quickly the structure and how people were putting it all together, and more of the background of it. So I love how the books actually have that in there.
Yeah. And I think it's a complete program. And what we make available for homeschool families, we sell, I thought I had one right near here, but we sell a package where we have the print textbook. We have the answer keys for all the exercises. We have a testing program so that after each chapter, a child can see how they do with that lesson. We have a little pocket dictionary with the most commonly used words in the language. And then each homeschool package now comes with 1 year access to our digital version of the book, our online book. And if I'm able to share screen, Sam,
Yeah.
I'd love to actually show a little bit of that.
Okay.
But that package altogether also comes with a pacing guide where we give our recommendations about how you pace yourself through the program. And 1 year of our program is equivalent to a full year in any high school program in the country. It moves at a solid pace, but as Sam was saying, it combines the vocabulary and the structure, but it does it in a way where you learn about the countries, the important people in the countries, and we try to make the language come alive and build confidence, because that's the key thing for a language learner. You absolutely have to be able to have confidence in what you're doing. And this is the downfall of many a student. After a few months, they go, I just can't do this. And I cry when I hear that, because I think any kid can learn a new language. And so we try to walk along with students and help them do that well.
And what I like about the homeschool package, what you're talking about, you have the teacher guide, and the parent doesn't really have to know Spanish or French to follow through that teacher guide.
Exactly. We basically say spend about 3 weeks per chapter, and you go page by page, and it's cumulative. So we always keep referring back to what they've learned before. Parents can follow along and be sure the kids are doing their exercises. The fact that we have an answer key, kids can check their print book. The digital, I'll show you in a second how easy that is to check. And the digital has a sound file, so every single vocabulary word, every single sample sentence is read by a native speaker, and the kids can click that again and again and again. In a way, Sam may remember this. When I was learning language back in the 70s at Evanston Township High School, we had this state-of-the-art language lab, and we put on our earphones and these big reel-to-reel things, and they were great, but you get to hear something once, and then you missed it. But nowadays, you can click and hear sentences over and over again, and it really helps kids learning at home. So anyway.
Yeah, if you want to share the screen right at the bottom, there should be a share. Then you get to pick, what you want to share.
Share screen.
The program has to be up, or the browser has to be up.
Okay, let me see if I can do that. I think I have everything. So I'm gonna hit share screen. And are you seeing that right now?
No, not yet.
Your entire screen, share. If it turns out this is beyond my technical capabilities, Chrome tab. There we go. Share. I think maybe we have it now. How about this?
Yes. We have it up.
we have it up. Now the challenge here is my login is not appearing automatically here, which is very surprising to me. But I think we're going to have a solution in about 1 second, even though you may see my secret password. I kind of feel we're family here.
Oh yeah.
So now all I have to do is go back to that screen, hit the paste button, hit login. And if all goes well, I'm so excited.
Oh, there we go.
It is an almighty being. So you can see in my Breaking the Barrier file here, I have access to all 6 books. If you would get one of these books if you're a homeschool family. And I'm going to just right now show you Spanish 1. And on the side, you beautifully can, maneuver yourself through any chapter you want. And it's important to let you know, we start from the beginning as if a child knows absolutely nothing. And even if they've studied a little bit, we assume they've forgotten everything before they sit down to start this program. And we, in the beginning of our series, we have 10 steps. We teach people how to say what their name is, where they're from, how are you? As you can see, there's a title for each of these steps. Are you normal? Are you generous? Are you tall? We identify important nouns. We talk about your family, the weather, numbers. These are the things we do right at the beginning. And we have sound files. So for example, in lesson 8, we're learning the numbers. So first of all, we have a native speaker. You click on the sound file right here.
Step 8. 1, 2, 3. In this section, you will learn to count from 1 to 31. Here's the vocabulary that you will need.
1, 2, 3.
And you'll notice there's time in between for students to repeat. And then they get larger numbers. And then this is what I want to show you. Here's what an exercise looks like. And for instance, some of you may not speak Spanish or French. I thought I'd keep a very simple exercise. But the student here will have just studied these numbers and then we'll type in an answer. 1, 2. You have to put in the word tres. And you get immediate feedback. You click and you find out if you're right or wrong. You don't have to do the whole page to check the answers. 2, 4, 6. I type it in. Beautiful. Now I'm getting very confident here. 10, 11, 12. Now I type this in and I click. Uh-oh, I misspelled it. Rats. And I look over here. That should have been a C. Well, I'm going to do it over again. Click. Bingo. Once I finish doing an exercise, I hit save and all my answers are saved. I can show my mom and dad I did it. But the best part is you do it and then you reset it and you do it again. And review is the key to retention. And another thing, when you're studying a language, when you were a little kid wanting to learn a vocabulary word like, I don't know, fork at the kitchen table, you lift up the fork and you try to sound it out and your mom or dad would say, fork, fork. And you found out immediately. Language learning is like that too. If you get kids immediate feedback to learning, it sticks with them longer. They shouldn't have to wait 2 days to go to class to find out if they're right or wrong. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to show you one other thing in this book. I'm going to show you what the step section just gets you going. And we don't go into great detail about what a verb is and what a direct object pronoun is and a reflex. We leave the grammar to the side. This is just vocabulary, it's pronunciation. Each section also ends up with, here you get to practice how you do the letter R. And we'll give you some tips. And some kids take a while to learn how to do this.
In Spanish. It is almost like the R sound, but it has even more force and roll. Perro. Carro.
Carro.
Barrera.
Barrera. And the kids have fun with this and they practice and we give them tips so they can sound very authentic. But then let me show you one other thing. Here's what a full lesson will look like. I'm going to go to lesson 4. And we start off with a beautiful picture of the country we're going to be heading to, which is Argentina. We follow that up with a welcome. And this is very reassuring. I will welcome you personally to every chapter. I will speak directly to the student and saying, all right, welcome. Well, here, I'll show you for a few seconds. Here you go.
Welcome to Chapter 4. In this lesson, you'll start off by heading to South America and to Argentina, the land of the gaucho, the Argentine cowboy, and also the land of the tango, the beautiful style of music and dance that is loved all around the world. You'll listen to some wonderful vocabulary spoken by native speakers, focused on in town, and then you'll learn important grammatical ideas. The preterite, which is the past tense, prepositions, those little words that show relationships between nouns, and finally special pronouns that are used after these prepositions. At the end of the chapter, you're in for a treat, because we'll be talking to Fernando Caram, a wonderful musician from Argentina who has his own band and knows a lot about the landscape of music in Argentina. So enjoy Chapter 4. Adelante, amigos. Keep going strong.
You know, I smile when I see this. I was very lucky to be asked to do the online education in Spanish for the state of Virginia. They use the Breaking the Barrier curriculum as for their online learning. And as I was working with these wonderful educators from the Department of Education, they let me know that it's very helpful at the beginning of a chapter to have a student be told, okay, here's what you're going to learn. And when I first did that, I said, well, can't they just look at the table of contents? And they said, no. It'd be better. Can you make your recordings of yourself welcoming students in? And I thought, you know what, that's a pretty cool idea. So this is actually a feature the homeschool families like a lot. The students can be connected with somebody like me. I'm not a native speaker of Spanish, but I learned it. I speak it very well. And I kind of try to make it feel like we're in this together. So every chapter will start that way. We'll head from there to the country itself. We have Google Maps here, so you can click on Argentina. I'm not going to do it right now, but the map will expand and you can see even streets in Buenos Aires, but you can see where Argentina is in South America. We have the current head of state, and then famous people that have come from Argentina. There's athletes, there's writers. The Pope came from Argentina. We were very excited to put his picture in when he was named the first Pope from a Spanish-speaking country ever. So kids will have a nice background. And then down here, I remember when I first started teaching, I had this old folder where I would rip out pictures from National Geographic of places around the world. Now we have these beautiful color pictures of sites from all the Spanish-speaking countries. So kids have a chance to see places in history, seeing places that informed the lives of people that grew up here. So that's how we start every chapter. And we hope to whet their appetite. Maybe someday they'll get to travel to one of these places, or at least if they meet someone from Argentina, they can say, wow, I used to see pictures of the Iguazu Falls, or wow, in La Boca, do they really paint the houses this color? So we start every lesson like that. Then we go into vocabulary, and we do something very special and unique at Breaking the Barrier. We pick words, of course, that are used the most often. We have a theme per chapter. This is in town. And look how we do it. Every single word.
Año.
We have a picture, we have a sound file, and we have the translation in English.
Canción.
And the kids associate an image with the word. And that's actually the way you learn language. You don't learn language usually with a flashcard in black and white with the word on the front and the translation on back.
Carta. Chicle.
And we have incredible native speakers sounding out the words. So kids practice this. And then we have these flashcards. So this is old-fashioned. We go English to Spanish. I happen to know airport is aeropuerto. I check. I'm right. And I can listen to it for...
Aeropuerto.
And then I hit the learned button. And that flashcard goes down into this learned pile. Library, I know is biblioteca. I say that. Yes, I have that. It's fun. Parents and their kids can do these together.
Biblioteca.
Now I'm going to get to another one. Oh, shoot. I don't remember that one. Oh, no. So I'm going to look to see what it is. It's calle. and then I check this button, look what happens. The flashcard goes into the back of the stack. And so, I mean, this is an incredible way to learn vocabulary. You can combine sound, translation, beautiful pictures, and believe me, it's a winner. Please indulge me, Sam. You're such a nice man that, oh, shoot, I went too far. But I want to show you my favorite flashcard in our whole series, which is in lesson 1. And when we were doing this, I was determined. I wanted a picture. It's easy to do nouns. It's not too hard to do flashcards for verbs. But how about prepositions? Look at the word seen. Look what we did with this. I just adore this picture. A little kid missing her tooth, but there's the image, seen. And kids, believe me, memorize vocabulary this way.
También.
Look at this for this adverb. Also, you have kids working together. I don't know. As you can tell, I love what I do.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Then,
and it comes across, and that was one of the things I loved. Looking through the homeschool, all the things you give, all the things you do. I mean, this is beyond anything I've ever seen.
Well, you're great to see that, and then once we get into the chapter, we have 2 or 3 main ideas. This is lesson 4, the first year, and we're teaching teaching kids how to speak in the past. There's some programs, I'm sorry to say, that will have the poor kids do a full year on the present tense. And I just don't think that's fair for kids in high school or junior high school. I mean, the present is important in one's life, but kids, adolescent kids, they want to talk about yesterday. Like, who did you talk to last night? What did you eat this morning? And I think some programs go too slowly. Now, we don't race through things, but I strongly feel kids need to learn the past tense the first year. So we give them the forms. You get to hear the sentences in action.
Comí en un restaurante cubano, Victor's Café, en Nueva York. Anoche preparamos la tarea en la biblioteca. Ayer, Rafael Nadal jugó al tenis con Juan Martín del Potro por 3 horas.
And we try to use people in the news. I'm a big fan of Rafael Nadal. And then here are the exercises that we talked about before. Kids fill in the blanks. They do things in context. Wherever we can, we put famous people. Rigoberto Menchú won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1992. We mentioned Machu Picchu. So there's cultural teaching along with the grammar. So there's 3 major ideas in each chapter. At the end of the chapter, we have a little oral practice. Kids, we've invented sentences that practice what they learned in the chapter. And then kids get a chance to see how they do. And they play the sound file.
Preguntas en grupos de 2. A. ¿Qué comiste anoche?
And they hit the pause button. Now, this is a regular verb. What did you eat last night? Now, there's not a right or wrong answer. Kids could do these. If they don't have confidence in the beginning, they could do this as a written exercise. I'm pretty confident, so I'll say, anoche, last night, comí una pizza. And I'm going to say, okay, what do the native speakers say?
Anoche comí empanadas.
Empanadas. And I can see the answers, but I know I was on the right track. This is so fantastic for kids to practice. It's not just theoretical. These are real questions, very conversational. Who closed the door today? Did you write a letter this morning? As I say, this is at the end of the chapter to reinforce what they did. The last 2 parts of a chapter would be a review quiz at the end, where we just give exercises on everything they learned that chapter. As you can see, there's conjugation, there's fill in the blanks, there's some translation here with the prepositions. And then one last thing, and I'm actually going to go to another chapter because it's probably I'll at least show you this. I mentioned in the introduction, there's a cultural article, and we did this beautiful article about a young man who's from Argentina, who is a musician. And I actually sat next to him on a plane one day when I was heading to South America. And I was so excited. I said, I'm going to Buenos Aires. I knew he was from Argentina. We had talked a little bit. And I said, I write a book and I'm going to do an article. And he put up his hand. He goes, let me guess. You're going to do an article about the tango. And I started laughing. I said, well, yes. And I said, how did you know? He goes, well, everyone in the United States think that that's the only kind of music we like in Argentina. And I said, well, isn't that not true? And he goes, well, we love loads of music. And I said, well, how do you know? He goes, I'm a musician. And so we did this interview in his house. I took this picture with my iPad. He invited me to his home, his girlfriend, his mother, grandmother. They made empanadas for dinner for me. And wow. We interviewed him about music. And he said, well, we love all these styles of music. We did this little video at the end where I'll just show you a little bit.
Música en el aire de Buenos Aires.
En Argentina hay muchos estilos musicales. Y a mí me gustan todos. Por ejemplo, el tango.
And I'm standing in his bedroom with my iPad. And he said, I'll show you the kind of music we like. And he just sat down, played the tango, listen to what's coming next.
O el blues. El jazz. La música latina, como por ejemplo la salsa.
Well, I could go on forever here, but at the end, of course, we have to finish with this. The tango, here it is, music and dance. And the point I make with my students, because I could speak the Spanish language in an airplane, I made a friendship with a young man who actually invited me and my children to his wedding in Buenos Aires. I did an article about music and opened up the world a little bit to new things for people that don't live in Argentina. And I really think that's why one learns the language, to be able to appreciate things that other people have lived and experienced. It's something quite profound. Sam, I want to show one other thing, and then I will stop my share screen. But since I have this open, probably the favorite article I ever did, and this is a reward. The reward for studying grammar and vocabulary and practicing is you'll eventually get to hear stories in the target language of people that have done remarkable things. In this article, we study a fruit, and it's called the lulo. There's a picture of the lulo fruit. It looks like an orange, but it's not quite an orange, and it grows in the northern part of South America. And we did an article about a grandmother who used to make a big glass of lulo for her grandson. Here he is, Christian. And there's vocabulary. This whole article is read by the author of this article. But the coolest at the end is we go into the kitchen of this grandmother as she explains how to make this lulo juice, and it's step by step. I'll show you just a teeny segment.
Estoy aquí con mi nieto para recordar con él en los tiempos en que yo le hacía su jugo y él era feliz tomándolo, y todavía voy a prepararles un jugo. Empezamos a pelarlo debidamente, que quede bien. Seguimos un proceso de a consumir, pues.
I'm kind of skipping through it quickly. But at the end, watch what she does at the end.
Sería esta jarra como para unos 6, 7 o 10, como lo quieran. Mi nieto está que se tomó, entonces vamos a servir. Ellos van a deleitar esta maravilla de jugo. Y si me están viendo, mire qué delicia, ¿no les provocaría?
Bueno, muchas gracias.
Yo me despido y quedo muy...
All right, I'm going to stop sharing.
Wow.
And I hope, will I come back up on the screen here?
Yeah, you're up.
Oh, I'm up. Okay. I'm going to just shut this here. There we go. What I wanted to say that this grandmother, we did this article about her. She was from Cali in Colombia. She had never been on an airplane in her life, and her grandson had traveled a lot, and the grandson filmed this, and we recorded it. And there came to this moment where this article was done, and I work in a studio in Medellin, Colombia, and we invited the grandmother to fly from Cali, first time on an airplane, to come to this high-tech place in Colombia, in Medellin, to see this final article with music and all. And she came in, and all these high-tech young people were so excited to meet La Abuela, the one who did this. I mean, it was just love in her heart as she explained how she made this fruit juice. And I told her at the end, I said, you realize people all over the United States and the world are going to learn about what you did for your grandchildren every day. And she got all teary and I got all teary, but that's the power of language. And I think that's what we're trying to do, breaking the barrier, have people break language barriers so they can make connections like this. Sorry, Sam, I got carried away. It happens all the time.
No. I mean, that is absolutely perfect because I mean, it all kind of, you just brought it all in. I mean, from the why. It's not just learning a language. It's opening up those friendships. It's opening up the world to the kids, you know, and the more you learn, and that's why I love your system, because it does bring everything into the mix where the kids want to learn because they want to hear, they want to see the stories, they want to do the stuff, and they're learning about the country as well. So on top of everything else, you're teaching them, you know, how to be better citizens and better people of the world. And you know, it's amazing. And like you said, even on an airplane going down, and this chance meeting, and if you didn't fully know the language, we would have talked in gestures the whole time. Yeah. And,
one thing I want to share as a teacher also, I'm very old fashioned in a lot of ways. And like the print book was basically my Bible. I said, you know, black and white. I don't want pictures to distract, all of that. But the beauty of technology, which I've embraced, my students right now in my classroom, they have the print book and then they have the digital, because the digital brings that woman's voice to life. It has the sound files to life. And those together are fantastic. Now, I respect people that don't want anything you plug in. Beautiful. I respect people like, nope, I'm a high tech. But I think together, you know, you embrace both, but you don't get to hear Fabiola's voice unless you have, you know, that digital aspect of it. And, you know, in this world during the pandemic, last spring, our school closed down. We're a boarding school. No kid came back. So I was teaching kids all over the world, but remotely. And I had this program, thank heavens, so they could check their answers. They could do the sound file, even though I wasn't physically with them. And so I think the whole world has a brand new appreciation for homeschool families, what it's like to learn at home and parents being involved. And I've learned a lot doing this. I've learned a lot as a parent of 4 kids learning a language. But anyway, Sam, I can tell you, I've always known you kind of connected with what we try to do here at our little company. So
yeah, no, I love it. And you have French and you have Spanish, and then you also have Spanish to English, right?
Right.
Thing that you have.
Our newest product, I guess I should say, is our Spanish for Spanish speakers learning English. Right now, that's only available as an iBook on the Apple platform, and we've moved away from that in Spanish and French because it just wasn't open to everyone. We wanted something that worked on our online program. Now works on any device. Our plans this summer for English is to move it over from Apple onto our own platform. But it's a great program also, but it's not, by the end of the summer, it'll be accessible the way we want it.
Yeah. And then on a homeschool side, you have a whole package.
Right, exactly. I could kick myself for, if I disappear from screen, your people will wonder what's happened to me. I think I left it on the kitchen table. Can I get it, or should I not?
Go ahead. Yeah, no, go ahead. And how he's getting that, I've added this on. So if you go to Breaking the Barrier, their actual exhibitor site has all the information, has a ton of videos, and then a link out to their website. And the website is super easy to navigate and go through. So that's definitely, something. And they actually have a whole homeschool resource.
Right, and on our website, you can see a full chapter of any of our titles, not just a sample page. You go for a full chapter, including some of these cultural articles, our flashcards. But the homeschool package would come like this. It's beautifully. Let's see, I should be able to figure this out. So you have the print book in it, and then you have an answer key booklet. So if you're just using the print book and you want to have something with the answers written right in, you've got that. Then you have the test program. There's a 4-page test for every chapter in the book. It comes with an answer key, of course. For families, we have something called a pacing guide. And I wrote this talking directly to families using the book, saying, listen, here's how much time I would spend on each chapter. We have also a sample test where I give tips about how I would grade it, how I would weight it. We have a beautiful little, I just love this, called the Oasis. You stick it in your pocket. But in here, we have what we know are the most commonly spoken words in the Spanish language. Most of these are in the book itself, but if you want just something handy, if you're traveling, it's right there. And then the last thing you'll get will be a code that you activate yourself. And once it's activated, you have it for a full year for using our textbook. So that's what the homeschool package is. And Sam, you're a good man. I could see it over there and I wanted to get it. And I thought, how can I see that without you noticing it? But
yeah. I mean, it's and the package, it's so, when you look at all the other programs and some of the other things, they can get costly, and yours is very affordable, especially with all you get, especially with the print and then the online and everything that you have with it. So it's very affordable, especially with everything that you get. I mean,
that was one of my motivations in 2002. Actually, it was 1997 when I wrote my first print book. I was outraged, actually, how some of the big publishers would require my students, if I use their book, you get a hardcover book, you'd have to buy the workbook manual, you'd have to buy the audio manual. It was like this whole collection, and it was over $100 just for the book. And I thought, no. And so that was one of the reasons I wanted something affordable. I knew I had 4 kids that would be in the system eventually. So we tried to keep our price, reasonable. We have to stay in business as a business.
Oh, yeah.
The bottom line for me is I want kids to embrace a new language because they'll just get to make friends they didn't have before. Well, all the things I said before. So
I mean, anybody that's watching, go out to the exhibitor booth, click on the links. Go check them out. Check out, they have the demos, and you can see right there. And I was going through that earlier today, just running through just to remind myself, and it just was flabbergasted still, of just, the amount of energy and time and love, and you can tell that you love what you do, and it comes out in this. You just didn't just do it just to do it. I mean, you actually love the stuff, and it really shows through. So everybody check it out. The one question we did have was about what you get in the homeschool package. So we answered that. So now it's just everybody go out and pick what they're going to learn. The French or Spanish. I learned both through my life. I think there's more opportunity in the Spanish world, right now. But it will open up an entire world. And I had a chance. We lived in Orlando for 6 years, and man, you talking about opening an entire world. We Brazilians, and we did. I mean, just we were able to meet and just be with so many people, and learn their food and their all the different customs, and and my kids absolutely just soaked it in, and they're better people because of it. So what you do is amazing, and love it. So I just appreciate the time, and that to get on here to talk about, let people know a little bit more, about breaking the barrier. Is there anything else that we might not have been able to touch on yet that you might want to let the homeschool families kind of know?
Yeah, well, you're nice to ask that. That's really very moving to hear your own personal testimony about how important learning a language is. But we view our products, our books, as living resources. As a matter of fact, right now, I was spending time this morning. We update our books every time we do a printing, and we do printing every other year, but digitally, like every few months. If there's a new president, for example, the United States had elections in November. We had the picture of the new president. There's a lot of new presidents in South America, Central America. That will go in. I'm from New England. We used to have a lot of sentences about, I'm so happy the Patriots and Tom Brady won another championship. Well, I mean, Tom Brady stayed in, but just this morning, the Patriots and the Buccaneers went in, and people from the Spanish-speaking world, new singers like Maluma or Shakira, will have references to politicians, to scientists in the Spanish or French-speaking world. So it feels alive. And sometimes people will write into us. They'll say, Senor Connor, for a new edition, have you ever heard of this singer? Can you put her in? And we try to do that. We try to have fun with the people using our books. And our series is used in schools in all 50 states. But by far, our biggest market increase is in the homeschool market. And this last year, I think because of the pandemic, we've been very lucky, very blessed to have people take a look at us. And anyway, you'll hear the conversational voice. Like when I wrote this, is that I'm sitting next to a kid saying, all right, an adverb, you don't know what that is? Don't worry. No one knows. Here's what an adverb is. I assume they know nothing, and you bring them along with a sense of humor. Anyway, so thank you, Sam, for this invitation. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. And everybody check out Breaking the Barrier on the Curriculum Fair. Ton of videos on in their exhibitor booth, and then the links out to their website so where you can buy the program. So take a look and check it all out. And appreciate it again, John. And we'll see everybody here a little bit later. All right. Take care.
Thanks a lot.